Let's see. Well, greetings, everyone. I'm delighted to see such a wonderful turnout for our speaker and our topic today. You are in for a real treat because Severin Sorensen is probably one of the smartest guys I've ever met. And that's saying something because I've been around the moon a few times. I first met Severin when he was a Vistage chair, and I was as well. And we've been on plenty of Zoom calls together, and I'm just fascinated by all of the things he has learned, especially in this field of artificial intelligence. He's been a trusted advisor for business leaders most of his career. He is a founder and principal of his own company that provides advisory services on leadership and effectiveness and governance and digital transformation, and absolutely the perfect person to talk about AI and how it's impacting the economy, how it's impacting innovation, how it's impacting businesses. So with that, Severin, welcome to our Monday podcast.
Oh, great. Happy to be here. And thanks, Julie, for the invite. It's a unusual time. It's a time of great convergence right now. I'm torn in terms of topics to think about because my mind is pulled several ways. One, AI, definitely strong thread. The economic issues related to AI and how that's starting to displace lots of knowledge work and other things, certainly a trend. But also how AI can help us detect economic signals earlier such that we can prevent or at least be aware of activities that we can get into the flow of information. So my mind goes in all those directions. Tell me how you want to go today. I'll respond as the news reporter you are.
Well, thank you. Just a quick question, show of hands. How many on this call have used AI at all? Raise your hand. Okay, so we have several who have and several who have not. I think it's safe to assume you all know that artificial intelligence is controversial. It's also here. And so you can stick your head in the sand and hope it goes away, but it won't. So the thing to do and what we do here on these calls is to try and understand the issues that are affecting of our lives. And AI is certainly one of them. I'm going to start off with a question, Severin, that we know that there are a lot of people that are worried about losing their jobs because repetitive tasks can be done through AI. All kinds of things can be done by AI. But on the other hand, are any business leaders that you know of considering how to give back some of the time that AI is giving us to the employee? It seems to me that an employer of destination, somebody who's really wanting to seek top talent, would be thinking about making a shorter work day, shorter work week, making it more family friendly, because AI has helped speed up some of the tasks. Is that just me smoking dope?
Well, that's a rational expectation, but that's not what's happening. So, what is happening is that in the research, those who are using AI more heavily are finding that AI is helping them achieve and look at more data. So, they're actually working harder and longer. Fascinated by it. I'm, having those same issues. I find myself getting up at 4 in the morning, so excited by what I can learn and do I've never been able to do before. I mean, for example, this morning in preparation for this call, I put together a list of 70 top economists, and I had AI go out and visit what each one of them was doing in their field and then pull together the signals, pull together a congruence matrix to be able to see signal from noise and then determine what are the top issues for today. Could never have done that before. Years ago, I had an opportunity back in the first Bush administration to work as a special assistant to the president. And that was a great opportunity. And I can recall one day that somebody from the policy office came down to my lowly desk and said, "What in the world are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean?" This is your bill this month for Nexus Lessons is $5,400. What are you researching? And I showed them what I was doing with all the Boolean logic strings. And I'm like, okay, keep going. They realized how I was using it. But at that time, my goal was to learn everything possibly I could about what was going on in my domain area in order to help policy and so on. Well, I'm doing that today in terms of using open sources to look at all sorts of signals and indicators in order to help me understand the type of things that I'm looking at. Probably be easiest just to kind of show you just as an example of the possibility. Maybe just I'm going to open up a document just to give you an idea about just this morning of what I did. And I will show you the who I'm looking for, and then I'll show you the what of what AI did for me. And I was using three tools this morning. I was just using AI. I used regular Chat GPT. I used Cowork from Copilot, and then not Cowork from Claude, excuse me. And then I use Grok, and I use them all for different reasons. But let me just pull together one of them here, and I need to get out and look at my documents, and I'll just share what I'm going to put on here.
Let's see, can you share? Let's see.
Yeah, let's see. I will share. No, I just need to have something to share. So let me just do that here. Okay.
I'm
What
just
I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and I'll just share the primary screen and I'll just make sure that I'm looking at it there.
okay.
So I will share right here, this desktop. Okay. So what I was looking at, so just your idea. So one of the things you talked about was what's happening with AI. I was doing this research just this morning. I put together a economic dashboard, and that's this one here that kind of talks about where we are. And I had AI help me pull together. I'd written a book on economics back in 2008 and 2009 about what was happening. And so I wanted to look. And so, like, for example, this one here, this talks about how basically cost pressures go up and earning ability goes down, what happens in the economy. And I was just really trying to get an idea about the different signals we are. And then this is probably the most important one. Where are we today in terms of the stage? And what's interesting is we have right now heightened time here because of prices and so on. And it's what I'm able to kind of see through my economic data. So what did I do this morning? I'll just put this up here. This is the report out that was created by looking at the signals that I put together. So I just call it Economic Oracle. I put together the structure of the document, but I had AI do the work once I told it where to look. And so it went out this morning, and you can kind of see this beginning. So think of this like the Des Moines Register reporter that you were, that, basically you go out, you have your summary, you're grabbing the data, and it tells you what's going on. But then I have AI do what it does really well. I have it look for signals. I have it detect what's happening out there. For example, this is kind of interesting. Gold down at $4,200 when it's been up over $5,000 for a while. You have to ask yourself what's happening there. Is it a lack of confidence of gold? No. What is happening is that the opportunity for oil is so great that short-term money is moving into those high volatility areas. And so a wise investor would say, oh, well, have the conditions that underpin why gold is up lessened? No, they've actually increased. And so this is a great opportunity here, pricing what I would call a discount, what's going on in the market. We can walk into, and I actually put that in my little note here. And then these are some key signals that are just from today. I mean, just look at what's happening in terms of what I was able to harvest from all of these. One, the shadow banking. What are these? These are all the non-banks that give lending. They are hurting. These are like your BlackRocks and others in that they are having tremendous problem right now because of where the economy is. That's a big issue. Talks about the Fed, and I'm going to send this to you so you can distribute to people
Thank you.
on the call as well.
Thank you.
Look at this one here, looking at the Strait of Hormuz. Look at what the data says just this morning. 21 tankers per day going through as opposed to 100 pre-conflict. And what is that doing with oil? Oil ranging to $98, $99 a barrel. And you start looking at some of these issues that as we start looking at the future, peak price reached 126. it's not hard to believe that if they don't get that open back up, it could be much higher. That will cause additional challenges. And then these are other signals that kind of pop out. And as you're looking at these, you're thinking, well, look at all this data. How do we understand what's happening here? I mean, even look at this, for example, the tariff regime. We have the highest tariffs since 1943. Okay. So we've actually got three things happening that are a storm that are converging. We have AI disrupting jobs at a faster rate than at any time in history. You'd have to go back to the time of the loom, where when the loom came in, for example, in the Industrial Revolution, the loom created fabric 40 times faster than man. And it swept in, and within 5 years, 95% of all fabric was produced by the loom. And yet, it would take 55 years for those who were looming, those who were out displaced by the loom, to recover economically. We're seeing that trend start to happen with AI. We then have the other headwind is tariffs, and the last one is the oil that was mentioned up here. Those three things happening at one time are just really juicing a challenge in our economy. So there's a bunch of other things happening. The AI displacement, one of the stories we talked about, is kind of interesting. Also looking at all the other issues. So anyway, this report goes through and looks at all the different things. I'll send it to you. But I just wanted you to kind of see how things like that could be created. Now let me show you what I used to make that. So I basically put together a series of experts. So I sat down and I decided, it took me a while to come up with this, but here is my current series of experts, and I'll pull this over. So I created this earlier today. I told you I get up early in the morning,
Mhm.
but this is my third version. And how I track what I do, this is just a markdown document that's inside of um, a I'm using Cursor to look at it just so you can see by color what's happening. But essentially, what I have a series of tiers of data. So I'll just come down to the first one, and it'll show you what's going on. So here's the first series of voices. So think of this, if you're a newspaper reporter, these are your sources. So this source of zero, these would be these steady ones that you would say, okay, this is where I can find signal, not noise. And so I had to go out this morning and look at all these individuals. Okay. And then I said, okay, now I need to get to this next one. These are some voices that are out there. And so these are individuals of high regard who are doing great work. For example, somebody that I highly value in terms of their knowledge is Mohammed El-Arian, brilliant economist. He's currently the president over at Queen's College in Cambridge, but has great work. But look at the voices I'm listening to here. Then you come over here, and I'll look at the next one, data driven. And essentially, all of this goes on. I have over 70 sources that are here. What that is basically signal. That's a search for signal. How do I find from all of the potential voices what's important? So one of the things that makes this work for me is that I actually go find a signal. Now let me show you Cowork. So Cowork is really cool. All right. So I'm inside of Claude, and if you're using Claude, maybe you just see this view where you get your regular tool. But if you download the Claude desktop, you can get something called Cowork, and Cowork is basically a shop where you can get AI to be an agent for you. So what I did is basically, if we come down here and we look at this document that is produced here, and it'll come up over the side. This is where I had that document produced, and it created all this. And of course, I gave it a style guide and how it was going to do all its work, but here's where it worked. But let's go back up earlier in the feed and show you the work that it did, because I think that's the fascinating part. So if I get up in here and I look at what's happening, uh, now it's creating it, for example, the view the convergence matrix. After we got all the signals today, I had it create a matrix of all the noise. All right. It's now looked at all of those people. These are the top stories that came in. And so you can start to see how basically it starts looking at what's happening in the private credit problems. Stagflation is an issue. And so that's how I've been able to work through this. And then if I go through the to-do list, and if I break this out, let's see if I can. I wanted to actually show how it did the research. Let's see if I can get there. Oh, by the way, oh, do you see this where it says schedule?
Yeah.
I can actually turn this on. So go out and do this every morning and create a unique newspaper for me each morning of
Oh
all these
my
signals.
God.
Is
Wow.
that crazy? So let's just stop there for a minute because it's gone out to look at that. You've had a chance to kind of see this. Where does your mind go with this?
Well, where my mind goes right this second is there are entities and human beings who've created this. Are we stealing their content, their intellectual property by using AI?
No, actually, they publish these items out online. So what my tool is doing, so for example, Mohammed Al-Arian publishes an article, it goes to the Financial Times. He wants people to see it. This is going to read it, and then I cite and I quote him in the document. So it's just like a newspaper citing sources. So sources are very important for me. But what it is doing is it's taking all of that data and creating metadata, and that signals intelligence is the thing that's more important. Because, look, you could have one green shoot in a field, that's just one green shoot. When I start to see dozens of green shoots, then I have a trend and I'm able to grab data. But it is kind of interesting in terms of what you could do. And think about this. I couldn't do this before AI.
Right.
No way. All that work was done inside of an hour.
Wow. Now, do you do this regularly for clients? Is that part of what you
Oh,
do?
what I do? Well, what I have a couple of newsletters I put out. I have one that goes out and tracks everything in AI every day. That's my core bread and butter. And I had to create it because people come to my workshops, and as people get more and more attuned to AI, my people are coming more conversant. I have to be able to provide the latest news. So as a necessity, just for my job, I created a scanning tool to go out and source over 80 sources on what's happening in AI. So I know when I walk in the room, there's nobody briefed more than me on what just happened. And so when I walk in, I have this comfort. When people say this, I go, "Oh yeah, you can look at this source, the other." So I've created this to actually help my profession. So when I'm teaching and training, I know walking in the room, there's not a signal that they have that I'm going to be surprised by. And that helps my greater sensibilities of being prepared when I walk. So think of it as the ultimate briefing before you walk into a room. So I am doing that to help my work. It clearly helps with my research, my workshops, but I also have it looking at method. How can I do things better? And what's cool is I can turn this on any area. I have one I've created for compliance. I really hate the busy work of things. And so I get AI to go out and look at all the regulations and then build for me a compliance newsletter of what needs to be done. I got the one today to do economics, but I use these more as visual triggers, if you will, curiosity things where everybody can look at, oh my goodness, I could do this for my company. I could do this for my industry and start thinking, how could I bring the richness of data forward? So that's how I've been using it. And it greatly enriches what I do in the content.
Well, I have a gazillion questions for you. I'm also going to invite people on the call to raise their hand and ask questions as well. I have some basic questions about AI in terms of platforms. Yeah, I see you use Claude. What do you think of ChatGPT? And also address the real issue of inaccuracies with some of this data that's being spewed.
Sure. Well, let's talk about where it is today. I've got a couple of slides here I'll put up and show us. So let's do this. I'll just go back to the sharing my screen here, and then I can talk more fluently about it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just going to pull over my deck. All right, so here is the deck I have for my primary program on the AI Whisperer. Okay,
Okay.
so let's just look at this right here for a moment. If we look at this, I look at AI as having had three different transformations. The first phase right here, that happened, and it started on the 30th of November, 2022. And I look at this phase as being what I'll call the consumerization of AI. AI has been around, but it had been in labs and worked by companies, but now anybody could use ChatGPT. And it was pretty fun, but it made a lot of mistakes. In fact, in the data, at least 35% mistake. It was like a bad fortune cookie printer where, you would read, you get a couple, you're like, oh, that makes sense. I'll keep that one. Oh, this is off guard. I'll throw it away. But it really was more of a game, lots of probability. And in order to get it to work, you had to build some scaffolding around it. Then something happened. The models greatly changed in May of 2023. We crossed over where they were now thinking models. They were actually looking at the work and they could visually look at images. And the data showed that if you could have the written data as well as see an image, you could actually get better work. And AI started doing both of those. So that's really helpful. And in this realm, had we have just stayed here, we could have quite useful AI, but something happened again. And this is in January of this year. And by the way, each one of these leaps is almost an order of magnitude improvement over the prior period. We have another leap that happens this year, and Claude was behind that particular issue. When we look at that, what happens is several things. One, AI got better such that now, if you do what you did here, you're going to, in today's environment with Claude, you're going to get less good results. Think of it this way. Here is in an AI 2.0, that's the period where you structurally tell AI what you want and you're very rigid. And it's almost like you're putting rails by the side of a tree in order to bind a tree to get it to grow straight. But in this version here, if you don't take those rails off, you actually dwarf your tree because it's actually more capable now. And so what you want to do in the age of AI 3.0 is give it your intent. What is Commander's intent? I want to take that hill with the minimum loss of life. What is your intent? I want to ponder this issue with this outcome. And it's with that intent that AI helps you start thinking as a thinking partner. Another thing that's interesting here is this MCP. It stands for Context Protocol. And what this is Anthropic created a new software device that allows one machine to talk to another machine. And it's more than just an API. It's a language translator so that now with AI, you can hook it up into thousands of applications that you already use. So that, along with this engine to work, is something that's made things pretty powerful. So let me just describe in the data where we've been and where we're headed. So in terms of the data, this is the climb that we've had over the many years. And when you look at this climb, you can see, okay, it's actually taken us a long time to get where we are. But now here we are coming into this area. We got human type, like for example, in 2027, you're going to have 1 million Optimus robots in production. Think of that. Okay. And we're not talking about going up here, but this is the kind of change. And if you look at AI, what is AI today? Well, AI is actually part of 10 different markets. It's not just one market. And so you can see the growth of AI. So I work a lot with generative AI, and that clearly has the big pull, if you will. But then you've got to look over here. Robotics is the next one that will be large. And that's essentially generative AI as the brain inside of physical AI. Now, if you want to just think about where we've been, this here is a chart that was in an image from Professor Max Tegmark at MIT that talked about where AI was in 2014. And he told Googlers at this time, you can actually go watch this video on YouTube, that everything in the blue, the metaphor underwater, AI could already do better than man. He said, but in 2014, these are the peaks we're aiming for. That's the hard part. That's where we're all headed. Well, what do you notice about all those? Well, I had AI redraw that map for today. You notice that all that was hard is now underwater, and now new peaks have emerged of different components. And so new areas of learning and knowledge. And by the way, when all of these peaks are covered, new peaks will emerge. There's no end of knowledge. There's no end of learning. There's not a finite step where we say, well, we've learned everything. No, everything builds on each other. It makes it pretty exciting. So I've talked about this.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Well, the one thing that's missing from the peaks are the environmental concerns. Are we going to destroy the planet in the process with
Well, I
all?
think the environmental concerns will actually be mitigated with AI as we come up with better energy solutions, better pollution handling. What we will do, and we'll end up using a lot less resources over time. because it's already where what is hard or what the design constraints are today will be achieved as a method of continual expansion. So I do not think we're going to deplete all of Earth's resources. We're actually going to find more efficient ways, and we're already starting to see that in development where AI is working on some of those problems. So you asked me about models.
Yeah.
So here is where the traffic was as of Christmas Day of this past year. And what you see is that ChatGPT is diminishing rapidly in terms of its use. Now it's still high, so you're still about 67% of all users are using ChatGPT, but that will become almost like AOL. Some people used AOL a long time. What is happening now is that this is Gemini. Gemini has rapidly accelerated in terms of its ability, and you also have Claude in terms of their capability, and they're starting to increase, but you only see a little of it here. Where the big thing is that today, 40% of all enterprise customers are using Claude. And that's a huge departure from Copilot and from ChatGPT. And you can see it here. If we had the Olympics on the 16th of March, we would have in coding that Claude won gold, silver, bronze, first runner up, second runner up. In other words, they were like the Norwegians at the Olympics. Okay. And
Okay.
then over here in text, they win gold, they win silver. Grok on that day jumped to third, and Gemini got leapfrog. But I looked yesterday, and Gemini's right back here at number three.
Hmm.
This is dominance. This here should tell people why Claude is so important, and it is superior to the other models, and not just slightly superior. I think it's possible that Claude has what we call escape velocity. Right now, the coding that's going on that you're using has been written within the last 18 days, and the current code cycle for Claude is 1 to 18 days. So it's essentially morphing or molting every 18 days as it's flying, building new capacity. Whereas if a human system takes 6 months to do, you're already so far behind you won't catch up. So in terms of the models, here's what's out there, and here's what I'm suggesting people do. You have over here in the primary models, the benchmarks, these all test out great. But in terms of utility, Claude currently highest. I would say Gemini is second, but it depends on what you're doing. Again, there are horses for courses. ChatGPT has struggled. They've recently got leapfrogged by Grok in some of the tests. Palantir useful, but Palantir uses Claude inside. As you can see over here, Claude on Agentic is basically powering Manus, powering Palantir, powering Shortcut, and a bunch of other apps. But it's basically Claude with a wrapper over it as it's doing these other things. And then all of these others that are here, these are the top level in terms of what's currently performing in those markets. So one can see it. So as I look at this, a lot of people still using Copilot. The challenge for Copilot, it's about 80% as good as ChatGPT, and only because they get the old model of ChatGPT and then they get it working when it's safe, and then ChatGPT has already created their new version. And so they're just perpetually behind. I don't use DeepSeek primarily for security issues. It's not that it's not good. It's just like sleeping at a hotel that has no doors. You don't know who's sleeping next to you. It's not that it doesn't work. Okay. And then the other thing in the area that's interesting to me is what people are doing. So this is a chart that A to Z put out this last month, and it shows basically mouse clicks or visits to these different products. And what's not surprising is ChatGPT is still number one, and that's because they have 67% of all the traffic. But look here, Gemini now rapidly up to number two. And then another thing here, Canva. Canva's not AI. Canva uses AI. That's what I'll call the customer delight level. That's individuals wanting to, make a poster, make a card, make a plan. Then you see DeepSeek, interesting, number four. Grok, number five. Claude, six. Seven should scare us all. Character AI, these are the boyfriend and girlfriend apps, essentially where you create a relationship with AI, and some of them can become quite destructive. So that societally is something I'm quite concerned about. And then you come down here, Google AI Studio. This is a vibe coding area. What's interesting, way over here at number 41 is Cursor. They're a great software company. but you have to be a programmer in how to use that. Right now, we have individuals programming and doing their own things here that are pretty remarkable. So that's kind of a, rapid landscape of some of the things going on. I'm actually creating my own apps and I'm creating my own solutions. Like, for example, I was using Claude and it didn't have a microphone where I needed it. So I'm like, okay, well, my job today is let's build the microphone. I built it in 2 hours and 26 minutes using Claude. So Claude is like the MacGyver tool where you can build anything on the fly at your will. And so I encourage people to be AI agnostic. I don't want you to just use one tool. I want you to use probably three, and I'd encourage people to use paid tools. The results are so much better, and your privacy is better as well.
So tell me what some business, give us some case studies about what businesses are doing with AI now.
Oh boy, so many things. All
Yeah.
right, all right.
Well,
So go ahead.
okay. I was just going to say, let's take it from a consumer standpoint as opposed to a business leader standpoint, because I think that's what we have mostly on the call.
Okay. All right, so from a consumer standpoint, people are using AI, for example. Oh, here's one. I used a tool. In fact, I'll demonstrate it. The best way to do it to demonstrate it. Okay, let's
Sure.
go ahead and have fun
Okay.
here. I'll use another tool. Let's just share the screen. Let's say that I want to buy a unique car. I just need to get this part off here to say. I'm going to use a couple of tools and I think seeing is the believing part. So let's move this out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up a tool called Perplexity. And I'm going to say the following. I'm interested in finding a unique vehicle. I need a 2021 Jeep Wrangler Sahara Ultimate diesel engine, white exterior with a camel or peanut butter color leather interior. I know these are unusual, but I want to find one, find wherever they are. So I've given it a request. And now you can start to see have it do its research here. And now it's going to say, okay, it's an unusual spec. And let's see what it can do here. All right. So 2021 Jeep Wrangler uh, Sahara diesel white color. What's interesting is you can use tools like this to basically run out and to find all the different vehicles that you might want. And I use this tool to help me find this particular vehicle about 5,000 under book. Because I also told it, go ahead and look at all the websites, not those popular ones, but even ones where other people would do. Now let's think of this in a different way. I'm going to use another tool here. This is called Manus. And Manus is actually Claude under the hood, but Manus is a wrapper. And what was really great here, let's do the following. And this is something which is we'll do, let's say it's a pre-Christmas gift idea here. I'll turn this on. I'm a grandfather and I've got grandkids of different ages. And I don't know what they like, but I want to be responsive as a grandfather and understand what to get them. So I have kids that are the following ages. I'm going to be going to Walmart and I want you to help me identify the products and the aisles that they would be on so that I could be super grandpa and give the gift that would be most important. All right. So I have a granddaughter. Her name is Piper, and she's 7 years of age, and she's highly inquisitive and likes to build things. I have a grandson, and his name is Zeb. And he's very curious, and he likes tractors and everything outdoors, and he is 3 years old. And then I have another grandson, newborn. He's one, but he's very curious and he likes all sorts of toys. And then lastly, I have another granddaughter. Her name is Ivy, and she is now 4, going into preschool. She likes lots of things, but she likes the color pink. Help me determine what I can do and what would be helpful for these kids. Also, the aisle that would be there. So suggest for me from the research 3 products I could buy, what they'd be and where I'd find it, and then what message I might want to put on as a super grandpa. Now that's a highly consumer focused one, but what this is going to do is it's going to actually think about this entire task. And then what Manus is going to do is act as your assistant. And so what will happen is it's going to come in and it's going to open up a little window here. Watch what's going to happen. When the window opens up, I'm going to click on it and I can actually see the thinking that's taking place right now. So here we go. So here's the thinking over on the side of the screen. So what you can do, watch as you watch over here, you can start to see it's going out to look at all the best sellers. So if I want to truly be super grandpa, I'm going to basically be fully aware of what's going on, the learning toys, everything else. Now it's going off to the stores to look at each different item. It can actually determine the aisles that it will be on.
So can you teach CEOs how to manipulate the data going in so that their products stand out?
Yes. Yeah, you can.
I was
Yeah. And
afraid of that.
so, and I teach them how to do that. But it's what I do is essentially you can set up a personal version that then shares data with AI in a way that it is most accepted by AI so they know where to go. So in other words, the new SEO is basically putting your propaganda, your marketing material, whatever they would need so that they would have the tools that they could actually go out and find that information.
This is
So
just,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, this is just gonna totally radicalize advertising, isn't it?
I think it's always been radical,
Yeah.
but it's going to change what's going on, and all the old SEO isn't going to be as important as the new SEO going on. I'm excited to see what it's doing here, but just notice how it's basically going in here and saying, all right, a 7-year-old girl with the following items here, creating all of this. By the way, I did this last Christmas shopping season. I
Mhm.
went to Walmart and I said, I've got these are my grandkids. I want to do something great for each one. And it literally told me where. And I told them which store I was in. And it said on aisle 42 that you should find it halfway down the aisle. On aisle 41, you'll find this one. I mean, it was amazing that I could get it to basically help me do something. And so this is very consumer oriented. But look at this suggestion list here. So here's Piper's list. Here's Zeb's by a 1-year-old, old Davis and Ivy. Okay, so now you have all this coming here. Now, this is very consumer, but you could see how you could use this for almost anything.
Wow.
So where does your mind go with that?
How do
Well,
you get started? How do you get started? Can you
oh,
tell us how to get the Gemini is already on Google. One of them's on Google and one of them's on Safari already, and you kind of hit that and use that. But Claude, how do you get Claude on your computer to be able to start playing with it?
Oh, it's awesome. Just go to Claude. You can just Google Claude and you put Claude desktop. And you can have it there. And what Claude will do also, I've actually had Claude clean up my email box. I've had to delete all the political advertising and everything to clean my box up, and I have it emailing and stuff for me now as well.
how do you do
So,
that?
oh, I'll show you that right after this. So let me help you. Let me help Terry first. So go to Claude, and
I've
you want
got
to
that,
download Claude Desktop.
and I've got Claude Desktop up, and it
You want to just
says
download the desktop.
Codex Desktop. It goes Claude AI built chatbot app, Claude free for desktop. That's what you want. Chat
Yeah,
on.
or you choose the one for your operating system, either Windows or for Microsoft OS or for Mac OS. So
Doesn't
choose
say.
your appropriate one, and then you're there. The other tool I used was Manus, and that's its own account as well. Manus is probably one of the most successful autonomous agents today that works. I actually like Claude better because I can really manipulate how the meal is made. I can ingest my own things, whereas Manus just runs off to do it for me. So if I want to put more thinking into it, I would use my own thinking. I would use Claude, but they're both really useful.
But
All
about
right.
6 things pop up is what it doesn't just say, okay, here's a Claude app.
Oh,
When
which
I
one to choose is what you're asking for?
Yeah, it says Claude Sonnet.
Oh, okay. Claude
all these different
So
apps.
Sonnet is just one of that's the junior version of Claude. Claude Opus 4.6 is the better version. Let me go to my browser and I'll show you what I'm looking at
There
so you
you
can
go.
see that. Okay.
Okay,
Let me
thank you.
just change that. Okay. And then I'll get to how I have used this. Okay. So if I come over here just to Claude, and I could get into Claude just plain. This is just regular Claude, okay? And when I come in here, you see I have these model opportunities. So I can do Opus 4.6. I almost always do that. That's the smartest model. If you're using a free or the low price version, it might steer you to 4.6. That's a very good, efficient model, but your better answer is going to be out of here. So I'm always kind of pushing for that. Over here on this side, you see you have different things. You can start a chat. You can look at all of your search. You can search all your past jobs. You can even customize. And in customize, it just allows you to connect your apps to what? To anything. You can connect your Gmail, your calendar, all the other stuff that you're doing. It's pretty exciting. And then,
Wait. What did you
I'll
just?
go back.
Yeah.
Let's go back to there. Okay, hold on. So I'm just over here under customize. If I go to connect your apps, here's where you said stop. Go ahead.
Okay. So so if you connect your Gmail, is that what you were saying? How you
Yeah,
clean your, okay.
yes. And I'll show you what I did with my Gmail. But I said I want you to know my Gmail, and I have several accounts. I had it look. I said I want you to use this account or that account. And you can connect all these other things. I don't have it currently managing my calendar yet. I could. I'm still working on other components. I still manage that on my own. But there are over 8,000 different databases you can currently connect with Claude. It's the MCP which makes all this possible. So essentially, from this app, you can steer and do everything. So I actually even have Claude manage some of my Gemini stuff now, where it goes off to get that work.
It's the amounts. It can range from anywhere from 1% to 3% of the total asking price. And
What are we listening to here?
Curious about buying the home. And I'd say
I've got some audio here. I don't know where the audio.
You'll have things like inspections,
sorry.
Sounds
or
like a
appraisals, or
There
maybe
we go. I'm sorry.
okay.
found
Just had a little noise there. Okay,
Yeah,
so
sorry.
let's get back now and just go over. So that's what Claude looks like. Let me show you how I used Claude and what I do. Over here, you see up on my top bar, this is Claude Desktop. I click it, and then you'll see once I have this desktop open, I can do anything I want. It can see everything I'm doing on my desktop at a given time. And I can ask questions and it can drive what goes here. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to drop and I'm going to put this here this is Claude Desktop. Okay. And inside of here, I have chat, which is the regular one, like I showed you out here. It has CoWork, which is the one I'm using for all of my cool stuff. And then Claude Code, if you're a coder, you could do it here. I don't have to use it, but what you need to know is that everything you can do with Claude Code, you can do here just by speaking in English. Okay, so it will do the same stuff for you. Now over here, let me show you a couple things. Under projects, I've just put things I do. For example, at the end of each of my Vistage presentations I give, I send out an email to the chair. I have it go do the work for me. Okay, so let me just show you what I do. Basically, so this is the last one I was at. I put in here, I said, I showed it this date. I said, this is the location. And I took the Vistage calendar, said, here's where I was. And then I gave it the information of what I did in the meeting. I said, here's the screen capture of all the work we did while we were there. Take those two and then go ahead and prepare for me an email for this chair. And so if I go over to my email, what it does is it actually creates the whole email. So I'll take you over and show you what that looks like. I come in here and I go to sent items. Okay. And then I come in here and I'm looking at, let's see, daily. Where's let's find the Vistage one just to show you. Oh, here it is right here. Okay. So it prepared for me this email. It put the header in. It went ahead and addressed it to the chair, did all that. It wrote this for me. I helped create the style the first time. That screen capture I had, it basically captured that data and put it into a proper sentence. Then it said, here's where you can get your data. So for example, here, I will actually take them out, and then here's all the artifacts that I created in my presentation with all the prompts. So essentially, I want people to come back in and to be able to have all that data. So I've harvested that for them. So that's inside of this letter, where to get more data. And if you want more tools, you can come over here and look at tools. And so I had all that stuff for them, all of it for the asking. And now I have AI working for me. So is that cool or what? So now I have a consistent way that at the end of my meeting, I can just get Claude to go do the work for me. And it just creates an opportunity. Now let's talk about how I got it to do my email, because this is one of the things I always had. I asked people in my presentations, if you could get AI to do one thing for you, the thing most people have asked for is help me with my email. So let me just go down to an example here, use case 01. Okay. So I'll crosswalk you through here, and this is something that any of you could do. Let's get the right thing up here. Great. So under this, I called it inbox silence. Okay. So how did it start? Basically, I got it to go back through and think about the entirety of this process. And my goal was basically to have my inbox be incredibly silent, so I can walk through kind of the what and the how. All right, so what I did, if I come here, basically it said, after I did this assessment, before, let's see if I put this bigger. I'll bring it here as a bigger item. Okay, so before what I had, before I had 15 political emails a day, 104 other promotions that came in, and I only had one filter to clean all that out. And so I had to make 50 decisions a day on my email box. What I have after I did this, I got rid of all the political emails. I got rid of all the clutter. I have 4, and now I have essentially 10 emails a day that I have to look at. And so this went through and kind of talked about the how and the what. So what I did is basically, in fact, let's go here and just I'm going to create a document. By the way, I created a tool that will allow me to do this. Just a sec. I just created here. Okay. Bring this over here. So I have a little microphone over here, and I'm going to click it right here. By the way, this is the tool that I created in order to capture the audio, because they didn't have one inside Cowork yet. For people who are interested in learning how to clean up their own email box, particularly those that are using Gmail, it could apply to Outlook as well. Go ahead and prepare an instructional guide that would serve as a lesson. And then I will host this lesson for free up on LinkedIn, because I know there are many people who want to do it. Also, I don't want to incur any liability from this. Let them know this is free to use their best judgment, and also be concerned that I don't open up any unnecessary issues for security. Tell them how to be cautious with this. But prepare this first as a markdown document. I'll review, and then we'll prepare it as a lesson. Okay, so all I have to do is talk conversationally, and then it's going to capture the data. There it is, voice to text, and boom, off we go. So one of the things, I use my voice all the time, and I try not to type at all anymore. And the data shows that if I can speak rather than type, I am 3x faster. And it has nothing to do with AI. It has to do with me getting the data to AI in order to process and to think. So now what it's going to do, it's going to go ahead and prepare this lesson that I will make sure to share here. But what I do is when I get some findings, I always get AI to go back and help me understand how can I help others with this, and create these kind of teaching documents with it. Another thing that's cool is over here, you can see in a folder, these are all of the other These are the other outputs that I have created over time with this as I've been trying to clean this up. So I actually created a lesson for it. And I'll just show you what the lesson was. My lesson was called Blessed Inbox Silence. Okay. All right. And basically, what's the purpose of this lesson? What do you need? What's your recommendation? And here was my prompt. Help me reclaim my inbox. Audit my last 30 days of email activity, deletion, spam, and subscriptions. Then take action. I want bulk unsubscribe from unwanted senders, report repeat offenders of spam to train Gmail's AI, and create keyword filters that auto archive or block political fundraising, promotional clutter, and low value notifications. Whitelist legitimate news sources to prevent false positives. Show me before and after metrics when it's done. So it basically walked through all of the components and put the activities together. And this is just kind of the plan of how it did all that. So what I'm doing now, it's going to go ahead and it's going to create this new version of that I'll be able to share with you. So I'm gonna that will actually do the work, but it works. It's amazing. I went from over but basically I had 300 emails a day down to 10. And I had 86,000 emails in my important folder that had organized everything for me. That part, it took it about 2 hours to do, but I was able to get all of that to work for me.
Wow. Wow. I don't see any hands up. I don't know why, but I have a question. This is just very selfish on my part. I put on a writer's retreat in September, and it's a real-time gathering at a lake. And historically, we've had over 300 people participate. And I just don't know how to market it efficiently in this climate, in this
Oh, let's use AI to do that for you.
Okay.
I built a tool. All right, another one of my hacks. If you want to get really good at AI, use one AI to prompt another AI. So let's go ahead and do that. All
Okay.
right. So what earlier today, I was up on your website. And so I've got the information about the retreat here. So what I'm going to do is the following. I'm going to, let's see, make sure I got to show my screen so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So we're now going to share here. All right. Can you see? Oh, I got the wrong one up. Just a sec. Good. I have a few screens. Okay.
I can
So
only
here we
imagine
are.
your home office.
There we are. Okay, so now I have this going here, and you can see I was up on your site a little bit earlier today.
Uh-huh.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over and I'm going to open up an app. I built an app called Prompt Sensei, and you can get to Prompt Sensei pretty easily by going over here to the aiwhisper.org. Okay, and if you go to Tools and you click it, just come into Prompt Sensei. And what's cool is I have all the data here on how this works, but all you have to do is just you come in here, you launch the Prompt Sensei. It'll ask you for your information, and it's the same log on when you log into your account that you subscribe. So I'm here now. Oh, by the way, I'm going to change this. By the way, I wrote all this software behind here, Vibe Coding. I'm not a coder, but I thought I wanted to do this. Okay,
Right.
so here we go. And so I'm going to do this. Help me prepare a marketing plan with guerrilla marketing tactics so that with a low budget but high impact, I could help advertise the following retreat. I provided the website that you can look at. This is a fantastic group and an organization. I happen to know Julie personally, and I want to boost the awareness of this. So think like an expert marketer and prepare a prompt that one could use to create this marketing plan that would get the greatest results. So all I do is I enter my intent. The intent will now show up there. You see this is my prompt, and then I hit enter. Okay. So what you can do on Prompt Sensei, you just kind of shout out or put in there, here's what I want it to do. It's now going to look and say, all right, it'll analyze my prompt and it will say, okay, as a prompt, it was deficient. but now I'm going to think about what you should have said, and I'm going to help you write a better prompt. So what it does, it says, all right, Severin, you knew what you wanted. The intent was clear, okay, but you missed so many other areas that made your outcome less good. Here's what you asked for. Here's what you should ask for.
Wow.
And now what we do is we copy this and we go over to our model of choice. So let's go ahead and pick one. Let's do it right here. I'll just use Claude and I'll have it create an artifact you can put on. So basically, I want to do the following, and I'll just put at the end, one of the goals is an HTML artifact to host on their web page to drive traffic. Okay, so there we go. So now I've given this to AI, and what's awesome is I've given it to Claude, and Claude is like no other model. It's going to look at this, it's going to do the research, and it's actually going to prepare the artifact that you'll see come up on the screen here without me doing anything else. And that's what's so phenomenal. So if your AI is not working for you, you're using the wrong AI.
Oh my God, look at this.
So
Wow.
now it's going out and fetching. Look at this. It's actually going out and looking at everything that's there.
Wow.
And it's going to it'll build the entire campaign. And it was all because of this. Read the strategy.
Wow.
And this was Prompt Sensei that put that together.
Now you're Prompt Sensei, right?
It's me. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So what I did is I put my book and my mindset in the background, and I created the tool, and then I just put it under a paywall out there at aiwhisper.org.
Wow.
But it's crazy because essentially with your basic intent, it will elevate it to something masterful. And I use this, I basically built the tool for myself, and I said, other people will probably want this as well. And I put it out on the paywall. I build tools for myself all the time. So now it's actually out looking at this. Look what it's doing now. It's now writing code. This is actually writing in Python right now for you to create this artifact and a landing page to go ahead and nest on your website. So I'll give this to you after as well.
What do I do with it?
So do you manage your own website, or do you have a web designer?
Not this year. I have somebody else doing it this year.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the file and just give it to him and say, put this up on our website. That's it. It'll already be done. You'll see it's done. This is going to come as a HTML file for you.
Wow.
So, but it's doing all this work. It's already thinking about it, seeing your site. It's now focusing in a guerrilla marketing way. I mean, what's the idea of guerrilla marketing? Highest impact, lowest dollar in ways that would increase memory and retention. So I can't wait to see what it does. I do this in my workshops all the time. When people say, well, I don't know why I should use this tool or that. And I said, well, does your AI do this? And I'll just put this in. And usually minds are blown and they're just like, oh my gosh, I had no idea you could do that.
So
So
while this is running,
yeah.
I want to be a subscriber to your newsletter. Where do I go? How do I do it?
Oh, okay. Well, this is going there. Where you're going to go is you're going to go out to aiwhisper.org. Let me just show you. I'll drop that back in here. Oh, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and download the report. I'll send that to you as the deliverable as well.
Bless your
Because
heart.
there's teaching with that. Okay. So what I can do if I come back over here to the course page, this is basically at aiwhisper.org. You see the up on top. I'll screen capture this and I'll be able to send it to you. Okay, so this is my site. And so here I've got lots of different things. So what you do is you come in, you would go over here to tools, and at tools, you would come down and you would say, okay, this is the one I want. You'd hit subscribe now. And then here you can go ahead. If you continue, it's going to ask you to subscribe to the tool. And then here's the introduction, how to do it. But it basically shows you how it's all built. These are just questions. When you get it, you'll get a email that will come to you to tell you how to work with it. But it's crazy what it does. So after you subscribe, you just come here, you just go ahead, you add your password in, which is the same one you do when you sign up to aiwhisper.org. and you're in. And you could just literally ask, here's another one. How about this? Words that Dr. Seuss might use to describe a writer's retreat for songwriters and for book writers. So we'll get a little literary here.
Oh my gosh.
But again, just getting it to think about what one could do. And I like this one because it's so simple. You're like, okay, well, that's cool. But now look at the difference here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's get ChatGPT to do this one. Okay, because the cool part, you can drop it into any model and it will make any model better. So I'll just drop this in here. I don't want to use Pro. That's the heavy thinking one. Let's just use the standard. And here we go.
Do you realize we are already after 1 o'clock? Are you okay on time?
I'm okay, but I realize we're winding up, so it's good.
This is fabulous. I mean,
So let me go here, change this model. I'm going to stop for a second. Because I can change this to go to, sometimes I'll use the different model. Let's go to a new chat, just because that one's so slow. Just use this one and make sure I'm in instant. Good. This will be faster. So it should be able to just fly right through and do it. Here you go.
oh my gosh. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Just think of the fun you could have.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. All right. So let's go back over and let's see what we're here. And so now it's actually building the artifact. It's now building a comprehensive marketing plan. The thing I like about Claude, it is the overachiever of all the models.
Okay. Okay.
It wants to delight. It truly wants to provide you with what you've asked for, and even things you haven't asked for. So one of the things that's pretty cool, it says now it's got the HTML that's done. We could go over and look at it. Here's the HTML that's done for your website.
Oh, wow.
And it's constantly getting better. As it sees things that it needs, it goes back and it updates the code. And
Wow.
the cool part is, so now you have all this information, get on the list. This here is yours, and it is now listed as a HTML document right here. And it just is its own website. So essentially, I'll send it to you. You can give this to your web person, and you can place it on your site. It's already done.
Wow. I like it. I love
Isn't that
it.
cool?
I love it. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's see if it's got the written report together. Because it's now, we had it do a written plan. So here is the marketing plan. Let's go ahead and look at that.
Wow. My gosh. Okay.
And here's everything to do. So you asked for it. It is now here. And I'll get you that plan as well. So I will download all. And that will be my thank you for the opportunity to talk today.
Wow, this is wonderful. I have so many things I want to talk to you about, Severin, and do you have a couple more minutes?
Sure. We're on extended time. So if you were on CNBC, we're on extended time. There you go. All right.
So I miss what I miss most about this being a Vistage chair is exposure to people like you and ideas and thought leadership stuff. And I was wondering, I mean, I'm a big proponent of Substack and getting people to tell stories on Substack because I think it contributes to the overall, data that's being collected by AI and others. But it's also a great way for people to tell their stories. And I was thinking about creating a collaborative for, I don't suppose you could use the word Vistage because it's proprietary, but for chairs who are authors. and get them on Substack because it's a good way to refer to one another and that sort of thing. Do you think that's a good idea?
I don't know. I know people who are on Substack. I don't know what amount one needs to be there. Um, I like the idea of getting recurring revenue, but I'm also giving so much away. Like when I put stuff on LinkedIn, it's free. I'm
Yeah,
publishing heavily on ResearchGate for scholars. That's free. I, I get paid a lot to go do my regular work.
yeah,
And so I'm like, there's a notion that says information trends to be free. In other words, it's just like going down. But implementation is what people pay for.
right.
So if it's just putting out material, I'm often just giving it away for free. And this is hurting newspapers and hurting other things because it's just like, look, I could create it so effortlessly. Let me just give it to you.
Yeah,
Whereas if I come and speak at an event or if I do something, well, that's implementation and they'll pay mighty for that.
yeah.
But I have thought about it, and perhaps I could have my AI working on my content for my Substack, but
Well,
I haven't put one up.
but you're producing the content anyway. We just
Oh, I have tons of content. Yeah,
you have more
I can do
content
that.
than anybody I know, but and good content too. It's just a matter of putting it in a different platform. But
Yeah, no,
anyway,
it's a possibility.
I could just talk to you for hours. I sure appreciate your time, and
Well, thank you.
thank you for being with us. And I'll certainly put the web links and that sort of thing. Any last thoughts to the group?
Last thought. Well, AI is good enough to use every day, multiple times a day. And I think our ability in this age to be resilient as lifetime learners is to figure out how to express our intent, like using a tool like that Prompt Sensei to have AI work for us. How that worked is if I'd have just put my simple prompt in there, it wouldn't have got it. But by elevating it to an elite prompt and then doing it, then Claude knew exactly what to go do. I could get there over time, but I just remember a couple things. So one, be AI agnostic. Don't buy into one model. They all have biases. And by using multiple models, you can uncover bias and hallucination. Two, use your voice. You saw me use my voice on everything today. You see how much more content I can create during that time. And then I would say three, use one AI to train another AI and keep that there. And I guess the last one, be good, do good, and seek to help others. All right, that's my mantra, and that's where I'll end.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Really fascinating. Appreciate it.
Great. Thanks so
Take
much.
care.
Take care.